All right. Good afternoon, Rena. How are you?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Good. Thanks for meeting with me. I want to start off a little bit about talking about your previous purchasing experience. So,
Mhm.
can you talk to me with when you were with Martin B to start and kind of what you did there?
Yes, for Martin B. Stringfellow Company, I did purchasing and project management for hotel and timeshare renovations. So, how that worked was I would get specifications from interior designers and architects for interior furnishings and finishes, hardwired lighting, any kind of equipment that would go into a hotel. I would bid it out. I would issue the purchase orders, communicate with the warehouse and with the freight forwarding companies to get it delivered, and then oversee the scheduling of the installation, which is basically the delivery to the customer. So we were hired on by like a specific, like Marriott would hire us to do X hotel. So I would see it from beginning to end as far as that part was concerned.
Okay. And then you were approving invoices,
Yeah.
investigating discrepancies, and then confirming the receipt of the goods as well, correct?
Yeah, that was actually the biggest part. Getting the purchase orders issued is usually the easiest part. It's the following up, getting the acknowledgement, confirming the price, if there's any deposits, making sure the terms are correct. When the invoice comes in, making sure it's been received, that it's received and not damaged, doing any kind of freight claims, approving the invoice, making sure it's paid. We're not on credit hold. Those are that's the big part.
Okay, perfect. And then from there, you kind of took a little different approach and went into like the video game accessory division.
Yeah.
So when we were talking previously, definitely want to elaborate on this. So talk to me about what you did there.
Yeah, I when I was working at Stringfellow Company, I got the certified purchasing manager designation. And to do that, that kind of opened the door for me to go into more corporate purchasing, more heavily into materials requirement inventory type of purchasing. And there I worked for the video game accessory, like aftermarket accessory division. And I had certain commodities that I was responsible for purchasing. And I would enter the forecast, which came from the sales team, into SAP. I was actually a super user for SAP in our department. I would enter the forecast. I would issue the purchase orders based on the inventory levels. And most of that I was dealing with China. I would say 100% I was dealing with overseas. It was all import. So there was a lot more dealing with large carriers, shipping companies, checking where it is as far as the import process. From there, it would come to our warehouse, and we actually did the packaging on site. I ordered the packaging, and then I would use the MRP portion of SAP to create the bill of materials for production in the warehouse to package it, depending on if it was Walmart or whoever the customer was.
Okay. And I know when we chatted before, you said that you were familiar with Jensen.
Yes.
So can you kind of talk to me a little bit again about what that connection was there?
Well, Jensen was another division in our company. I was in, Rekaton was huge. The reason I left Rekaton and decided to stay at home with my kids was Rekaton actually closed, went out of business. They're gone while I was on maternity leave. So, so that was that. But yeah, Jensen was one of the other divisions in our company, and just because it was, part of us, we shared some space in the warehouse. Sometimes we would have things there. So I did get to know a little bit about the 12-volt industry and a little of the terminology and head units, and so just talking to people. And the Jensen company actually is still here in Lake Mary. A lot of the people who worked for Jensen still they have they're under a different company here locally called Dual, and they actually are still here. So
Okay, pretty
yeah.
cool. All right. And then lastly, you were with Arise Virtual Solutions, and you were there for quite some time, and you were
Yeah.
working remote. So what were you handling there exactly?
When I was there, this was when I stayed at home because we, at the time, just kind of decided that since I was, laid off from Rekaton, basically laid off, it was permanently, everybody was gone, that we would give it a try staying at home. After they were just a couple years old, I started working part-time from home, and that was pure customer service tech support. My first client with them was Apple. I did Apple for like 2 years. I was tier one tech support. So it would literally just be going through troubleshooting basic stuff if I could help them. I did the same thing for Walgreens for their photo website. I did chat tech support. I did pharmacy tech support. And I did most recently, just in the past maybe 2 years, I did QuickBooks for them. So I was in the business to business department for QuickBooks. So it was only small business users calling for help setting up if they were stuck, couldn't figure out, couldn't balance something. I uptrained on payroll so I could actually run their payroll for them. So it was,
Okay.
so I did a lot with QuickBooks. Got
Okay.
really good at QuickBooks, actually.
Great.